Everything in this video is found on a public domain and the full disclaimers down below. Welcome to the Danger Zone. It's Ashley. I wish you lots of love and many blessings. That was an excruciating 2 hours to sit through. Oh my gosh, let's talk about that really fast. You know what, y'all? This really proves to me that she walked on the scene with a purpose for a purpose. This is the most fraudulent relationship I've ever seen in my life. She's definitely a handler. He's definitely under someone else's control. I'm telling you, this was a full-on attack. Not on just the royal family, but the system, quote unquote. I'm not a big talker, you guys. I'm not somebody that likes to get in the crowd, get involved. I like to sit back and pay attention and listen. That being said, I'm going to point out a few things to you, and I'm going to try to keep it brief. Can we start with the size of her bump? Can we? You guys, look how big it is. So let's just start from the beginning. When she was walking with Oprah, her shirt came undone, and she caught it after the fact, but not before the camera caught it. You can see that she's wearing a white sports bra and a darker toned, like padded, thick apparatus right underneath that, you guys. It's not her flesh. It's not like Spanx. It is definitely well cushioned. The chicken coop and the sit down were days apart, not months, not weeks. She comes right out of the gate saying that Kate made her cry, that she was not the one that had bullied up on Kate and made her cry, but it was quite the opposite. And accusing Kate of giving this story opposite of how it really took place to the media. Come on.
A few days before the wedding, she was upset about something pertaining to yesterday. She was correct about flower girl dresses, and it made me cry, and it really hurt my feelings. And
she didn't want anything to do with the original version, the truth, which was all about the flower girl dresses, and she made Kate cry. But being put on the spot, you could watch her hesitate, and she just went with it. She was not telling the truth. She also mentioned that she didn't understand why Kate couldn't just do what everybody else was doing, which was showing her support, considering everything she was going through with her dad at the time. Well, that contradicts everything she just complained about. It gets better, y'all. Listen, she went on to say this. She was having such a rough time mentally because she wasn't allowed to leave. She couldn't go anywhere. She couldn't do anything. She couldn't have lunch with her friends. It was always no, no, no. I don't remember it that way, do you guys? They were always coming and going. They were always traveling. She had all kinds of people over there. Do you remember what the French ambassador said? He said there was so many people there every night of the week, he couldn't even catch a good sleep. He ended up moving. Not to mention, her friends would tweet exactly what they had for lunch or where they went, including this picture from, I think it was her makeup artist. And further along in the interview, she admitted that she was just so pathetically depressed. She wasn't feeling good. She went and begged people for help. Nobody would listen. They turned her down. She finally told Harry the day that they went to the event at the Royal Albert Hall, "I'm not safe to be left alone. You can't leave me at home." And now, looking back over the pictures, she notices how when they were holding hands, they were white-knuckling it because they were hanging on together. What is she talking about? Their hands were totally relaxed. This is so strange, but when you look at the picture, who looks like they're in control? Who looks like they're distressed? It's quite the opposite of the version she's trying to spill.
And I remember how he just cradled me, and I went to the institution, and I said that I needed to go somewhere to get help, so that I've never felt this way before, and I need to go somewhere. And I was told that I couldn't, that it wouldn't be good for the institution. And I called.
So the institution is never a person, or is it a series of people?
No, it's a person.
It's a person.
It's several people, but I went to one of the most senior people just to get help. And that, I share this because there's so many people who are afraid to voice that they need help. And I know personally how hard it is to not just voice it, but when you voice it, to be told no. Oof. And so I went to Human Resources. And I said, I need help, because in my old job there was a union, and they would protect me. And I remember this conversation like it was yesterday, because they said, my heart goes out to you because I see how bad it is, but there's nothing we can do to protect you because you're not a paid employee of the institution.
totally flubbed this. They didn't collaborate. They didn't get their story straight before they went out there in front of Oprah's lenses. Because listen, here's what Harry said. When Oprah asked him, did you go to anybody trying to get her help? He said, no, we don't talk about that kind of stuff in the family. That's not how we run things. That's not a typical thing you do. So no, I didn't. He didn't mention it, yet she's written letters, made phone calls, and seen them in person, begging on her knees to put her in an institution to get help. Wait a minute, that doesn't jive with me, not one bit. Don't they have access to Heads Together? Isn't that one of their big patronages, as she says? And why in the world didn't one of his advisors, or one of the royal family's advisors, confront Harry with this situation? I'm not buying it. What it is a complete insult to those that have mental health issues. That this would even be written into her script. All it is killing two birds with one stone anyway. She's trying to dog down the system, quote unquote, the Monarch, the royal family, as well as toot their upcoming mental health thing for Apple, because Oprah had to throw that out there. It was a ridiculous lie, in my opinion, made up to shamelessly plug what Harry has coming up. And what's the reason behind it? He's certainly not volunteering his time out of the goodness of his heart. Money, honey. What about the mental health of her dad? She swiftly kicked his ass to the curb. All he did was have, I don't know, a heart attack. So those of us out there that have battled all sorts of different mental health issues, be it depression, anxiety, or whatever, I hope you feel as insulted as I do. Now here comes the race issue. She kept saying that they were having conversations months before the child arrived as to how dark his skin color would be and how it would really affect the monarchy. She really painted a picture as if they were all sitting around a table having this discussion and for months. And when Oprah came back and asked her, who was talking to you about this? It was Harry. Harry was telling me. She went on to implicate the fact that he's not receiving his title like his cousins due to his mixed race. He's also not worthy of being protected because of his mixed race. If this child is truly in her care, what she's doing is causing him a lot of future insecurities by telling this BS story. She admitted that her most important title is mom. Well, as a mother, you want to protect your child, right? Evidently not in Meghan's case, because it was much more important to stress how racist the royal family and their system is towards anything non-white than potentially preventing a complex in her child as he grows into adulthood. Selfish. And as she's sitting there in one side of her mouth saying, titles aren't important to me, I'm very secure with myself. The other side of her mouth, she's talking about how it's Archie's birthright, and after all, he would be making history as the first biracial royal. She went on to say that nobody asked us to take a picture. Nobody invited us to do what all the other royals do. She and Harry are the ones that decided against that picture, remember? My buddy Jay said they had to be in complete control of the introduction of Archie. They had to select who the photographers were going to be, and they had to rope off a section. The people could not get but so close to the child, and that was for a reason. We all know that. And I guess the royal family also told them they could not take full-on pictures of Archie without a filter also, right? I mean, they've treated this child like Michael Jackson did his. I don't understand why he doesn't have a veil over his face in every picture. And in my opinion only, I know it's because they're just trying to keep him secretive, because he'll be worth more one day when they really need to cash in.
Concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
They told everything, you guys, that you could possibly imagine that would be detrimental to the royal family and the monarchy, the way it's ran, who runs it. They spoke in major implication. Harry implied that it was his brother that was totally against Archie and Archie's skin color. When Oprah asked Meghan, well, who said this? She said, I don't want to say. It would cause them a lot of problems. And that right there is just a game. They're playing a game. I don't take anything they say seriously. I really don't. Just like she made sure to let everybody know that that $40 million wedding that she took part in and absolutely sopped it up like a gravy biscuit, It went totally against everything she'd ever dreamed of as far as a wedding's concerned. That spectacle was heaped upon 'em by the Queen, of course. In fact, 3 days prior to that big shebang, that tacky over-the-top ridiculousness that cost the taxpayers $40 million that she's not at all grateful for, they had gotten married in the backyard. Just she and Harry and the bishop. Here's what it all boils down to. This was a completely scripted, set up, sit down. Oprah was involved. I'll not think otherwise. This was nothing more than to tear down the reputation of the entire system, as she calls it, the royal family. They don't want William to sit on a throne and reign as king. They want that system to be gone. Why? Because the people that are backing them need that power away from them. Truly. Harry's completely involved. I'll not see it any other way. The entire thing is nefarious. And sadly, it will in the end affect you and I. That's their goal. I know their agenda. It'll all show itself. It always does. Whatever you do in the dark will come out into the light. It will. Harry's stressed that his brother and his dad were trapped in this system. They can't leave. They're trapped. Hey, Dr. Phil says it best. I hate to quote that man, but it's true. If you want to see somebody's future behavior, look at their past behavior. These two people love the spotlight. She begged to get into the tabloids. You don't do that if you're a private person. She begged to be set up with a high-powered person over in England. Why? Why England? During this tell-all, you guys, they had several slip-of-the-tongues. They needed to come together and collaborate their story a little better. If you sit down and watch it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Harry, talking about his future baby girl, even said, "We're finally a family now." He catches himself and he says, "A family of 4 with 2 dogs." So I guess a couple and a child with 2 dogs can't be a family? They made too many slip-ups. They used a lot of trigger words too, like compassion, compassion, compassion. That was every other word out of Harry's mouth. He's a good boy. He's been trained well. They played all their cards. They made all their points. Compassion, the race card, the censorship of the online world, and mental health. Bingo. All the while they were taking the monarchy down brick by brick. Mission accomplished. I really am looking forward to the resolution of this. I want to see the outcome. I'm curious as to what the royal family are going to do about this. Before I go, what really struck me too, Harry said that his mother would be extremely happy for him because they're happy away from the royal family. And he seen that history was on the way. It was going to repeat itself with Meghan. He does not want that to happen at any time. Well, then maybe he should tell his wife not to get in the car with a drunk driver. Because the man driving Diana around the night that she lost her life was completely intoxicated. I hope you have a good day today. I'll see you soon and we'll talk fast. Please stay safe and be blessed.